Final question, what's next for you, Robert? I mean, next few years for you, I mean, you're opening a lot of people's minds to these ideas. And, ideas are the key to everything. That's how the memes are created, which are like genes, which move these things forward. What's next for you? What's important?
Yeah, 2020 was such a watershed year for so many people in so many ways. And for me, I was operating a crypto asset hedge fund, and I just woke up one day and was like, our benchmark is Bitcoin. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm trying to outperform Bitcoin. It's like I spend all my waking hours trying to outperform this thing, and it's the best perform. It's really hard to outperform Bitcoin, by the way. And I think partially from my interaction with Saylor. So a couple of things. My writing and my talking about Bitcoin was becoming popular. Saylor reached out to me at this kind of opportune time where I'm like, I'm going to start talking to people on a show or podcast just as like a side project. And so he agreed to be my first guest. That was a huge success. The Saylor series I get blown up like every day, dozens of messages, people saying how transformational that's been. I think Saylor has orange pilled more people than any other human.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's really impressive. Yeah. And then this quote is what really was the nail in the coffin for me was from H.G. Wells, "Civilization is a race between education and catastrophe." And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, this is the game we're playing. We're playing for the future of civilization. Either we get this, total Orwellian status dystopia, China social credit score, central bank digital currency tyranny model that's being exported right now, by the way. It's countries around the world are trying to get this in place because it's very efficient. It's a very good way to get something for nothing in terms of tax revenue. Or we can educate people about life, liberty, the principle of inviolable property that Bitcoin actually represents an implementation of, right? We've grabbed this principle we've been talking about for almost 1,000 years, and we've pulled it down into the real world and we've implemented it. So now we can build a libertarian, laissez-faire, freedom maximized civilization on top of Bitcoin. And so my inflection point was like, okay, I can either contribute to that or I can sit here and try to outperform Bitcoin. And it was just a wake up call. So I'm focused on the What is Money show. As I said, trying to incept that question with people. I've launched a circular, which is like a newsletter. It's called the Freedom Analects. I don't like calling it a newsletter because I never talk about the news. I'm writing about all these topics, macroeconomics, history, philosophy, government, money, etc. And I think I also want to start part of this transformation. I think is that part of Bitcoin is it gives you a why. It's a really big why. All right. So myself, I had been, quote unquote successful financially, but my why was being diminished. Actually, I was less lively about being alive, let's say. And Bitcoin just revivified me. It gives me this real deep why. I wake up now charged up to read, write, talk about this subject, educate people. I'm getting bombarded with messages about how helpful it's been for people. So I hope to deliver that experience to others. And I think it's going to come in the form of live events. We're doing kind of audio, video media on the podcast. I'm doing written media with the Freedom Analects. The next thing would be to do some kinetic media in person, bringing people together that are successful and resourceful and looking for a deeper why in life. So I think that's the direction I'm going.
That's super exciting. Good for you for being able to step back from, those hedge fund days, because it's very hard. It's very hard because you were swallowed up in somehow subconscious fiat money narrative in there as well.
That's right.
It's hard to get away from. I got lucky enough to break away from that 10 years ago as well, and start pursuing something that didn't necessarily make sense, but it was pulling me there. And again, we started kind of democratizing information and putting these ideas out there, which a lot of people have a lot of paradigm shifts. And then recently we've been in this space, and first of all, I have to agree, like the why is, everybody in this space has it. There's so much energy. There's so much love here. I mean, this, and even Jeff Booth said that. He was a mild-mannered Canadian. First of all, he said Bitcoin could save humanity, which is not something Jeff would say lightly, as you know. And secondly, he said, Brian, there's a lot of love in this community, which is strangely a message that's always come from some of our greatest guests on London Real. At the end of the day, they say, this is about, we are all one, and this is about looking out for the greater humanity. That's what they all say after 2.5 hours in the chair. Whether you're a bodybuilder or an activist or an author, they all say that. It's uncanny, Robert, what they say. And in some way, Bitcoin is love too. It is, it's we are all one type stuff. So yeah, we're enjoying this part of the journey in a huge way.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And part of what love is this inspiration to give something for nothing. And that's exactly what Satoshi gave the world. Right? This is the guy and guy, girl, team, whatever. I think he has the greatest liquid net worth in the world right now. So he's probably worth 60 billion liquid. Hasn't touched it. And he gave humanity this gift that could unlock the next level of civilization. So there's definitely an aspect of love to it.
Was that just the luckiest thing that ever happened to humanity? Because if he hadn't have done that, you can't argue that it would have happened otherwise in the last 13 years. Happy birthday, Bitcoin this weekend. But would it have happened? It's not obvious that it would have, because a lot of things had to come into place to get it to where it is now.
To be truly decentralized, I think he had to disappear. Otherwise, Satoshi is the mythological bedrock on which Bitcoin is built. And we know that mythological relationship and money is very close, right? Pull the dollar out of your pocket. In God we trust. It's this instrument of faith, right? This contract with the future. So I do think, had there been some singularly identifiable individual to denigrate, attack, smear, coerce, it would have jeopardized the decentralization of Bitcoin. So Satoshi really gave humanity a gift.